and welcome to another episode on the Move.Talk.Thrive podcast. Today is a very, very special one because I am welcoming Em back. Yay! I'm so excited. I actually haven't recorded in many, many weeks due to scheduling, holidays, all the things, and we have been waiting for Em to come back because it is our 100th episode. So today is just all about welcoming Em back, having a catch up, and starting off again, really. So welcome back, Em.
We are child development obsessed, business besties, and mums, and we're here to spill all our secrets.
We have a combined 30 years experience working with children, and each episode we will bring you up-to-date research and evidence-based strategies to set your children up to thrive.
I'm Lizzy Dawson, Australian exercise physiologist.
I'm Emily Mackey, Australian speech pathologist.
And this is the Move.Talk.Thrive podcast.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, I'm so excited.
I am excited. It is so nice. Well, one, I missed you. I should have said that when we jumped on. I missed you and I missed our chats. And even though you go off and have a baby, I still love what I do, which is this type of stuff. So I miss it.
Yeah.
I don't know how regularly you'll be on, but I'm so glad I'm here to celebrate 100 episodes. When you told me we had hit 100,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I know.
100 episodes. What a milestone.
So
glad we can.
cool.
Yeah.
That's like, I guess that's kind of like 2 years, isn't it? Because we've done pretty much one a week.
Yeah. It's huge. It's a huge milestone. And I was just thinking back, like lots of people have written in over that time and said like, thank you so much, or I really resonated with this, or I loved this. And I feel like it's just been such a good way to help people.
Yeah.
But also like people just get to get what they want from it, like glean what they want from it, from just this sharing of covering a whole bunch of topics. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. And I think it's almost like it lifts the lid on who we are, and like just that we experience all the difficulties and imposter syndrome and all of those things, which sometimes you don't see, I think, on social media.
That's why I love this so much, because I feel like social media is so polished, and also you don't have a chance to unfilter. Even as I'm doing this, I'm looking at my hand and it's like fully blue and green because I've just been doing sensory play with Isabel this morning. But again, like that's something you just don't see online, right?
Yeah.
I've got blue and
I
green
wouldn't
hands.
have noticed. How funny.
Oh, good, because I just put my hand up and I'm like, oh, I did. They are clean. But yeah, I love it that we can sort of give a little bit more behind the scenes. And I think probably in the season that I'm coming out of, I'm excited to share more of what's been happening behind the scenes, because obviously I haven't been sharing much at all. But then this week I also launched my new video, because I have been working behind the scenes of the new academy coming. So even in that though, you just see the polished video. There's so much behind the scenes that's been happening. And so I think, the podcast is such an amazing channel to share this.
Yeah, for sure. And I loved that post that you did a couple of days ago, just saying, when you have a baby, you start another business. Kind of goes hand in hand. And I think that we've talked about this so much over the last 9 years, since having babies. And just that, I think it's just the space that it kind of creates for you to think a little bit more broadly. It's kind of like a holiday, but extended, and not really a holiday because it's also quite hard, which means that I feel like you go into those depths of reflection and recovery, all of those kind of mindsets. So it's a special time. So I think we need to find out, like, I mean, we'll do more episodes, obviously, but tell me where are you at? So Isaac is 5 months old?
He'll be 6 months in a couple of days, actually.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
On
I
the
love the
17th.
6 month mark. I love 6 months.
Mackie actually said to me, "You're going to post a photo of him at 6 months." And I said, "No, why?" And he's like, "Oh, I think you should because it's a big milestone." And
Big
so I thought, oh, okay,
for
maybe I will.
sure.
And that made me think, oh, yes, it is 6 months. So I definitely feel with all of my kids at the 6 month mark, I feel like I come out of, not feeling like yourself and you start to feel like yourself. I remember that very distinctly with Evie and Isabel. I guess the beauty of the third child is it will happen. Whereas
Mm,
with the first child, you're just like, when is this going to happen? Is this ever going to happen? Am I ever going to get back to being myself? Am I ever going to be able to be a normal functioning human again?
yeah.
And it always was around that 6 month mark. And I think it probably coincides with the baby starting to eat, the baby sleeping better. Well,
Routine.
most babies, routine. You feel like you've had 6 months to learn their personality, learn who they are, learn how they work in your life, all the things. It's still not very much time,
Mm.
but yeah, you sort of start to find your feet a little bit. That's what I found with Evie and Isabel. You're still constantly learning, but it just feels a little bit easier.
I think it's just a
Little
bit more
bit.
predictable. Like it's just a bit, your days are a bit more predictable. So you can, get
Mm,
into, and I feel like, that's always nice. I respond really well to structure. So I always kind of like that more structure. Although I must admit, like just sitting in demand feeding is also really special and nice because it's so different, I think, to what I'm used to. But I think that, after doing that for a few months, it's kind of like, oh, okay. I know when I can go for a walk. I know when I can,
mm,
when he's going to be sleeping or, all of the
mm,
things.
mm,
And so, uh, has he been, how has it been? I mean, we've been talking a little bit
mm.
here and there.
Yes, yes. I was thinking that like overall it has been overwhelming. I would say like this is the behind the scenes, this is the raw.
Yeah.
Um and I think because it's third child, right? You're adding in a child into an already a family of four.
Hmm.
But also, I had Evie starting kindy at the same time pretty much that I had him. And so I think because it's my first child starting kindy,
Hmm.
it's obviously a bigger deal because it's the first. Also, Evie was needing a little bit more support than, other kids that I'm seeing. And so then, you have a bit of a transition time with that, like just even that in itself. And then you've got a newborn baby as well. You have all the things that come with having a newborn baby, right? Like breastfeeding. I breastfeed exclusively.
Hmm.
So breastfeeding, figuring out the child's personality, every child's different,
Yeah.
figuring out their sleep, figuring out their so then you get hit with illnesses. So we did have lots of different sicknesses and illnesses because Evie's at school, bringing those home, they go through your family.
Yeah, you
um
were really crook, weren't you?
yeah, we had a whole bunch of different flus and things like that.
Mm.
But then in there though, there's beautiful moments of the girls just absolutely love him.
Yeah.
He is so sweet. I think he's my most chill baby ever. he's
Oh,
he's
wow. That
great.
surprises me.
Yeah, he's great. He's very active already.
Yeah.
I can see only recently, I would say in the last 2 weeks, that I've noticed a difference between him and the girls at this age. He will just not even let me sit now, like sit down
Yeah.
and hold him. I had to take him to an assembly for Evie yesterday. And he just would not sit in my arms. He's throwing himself around,
Yeah.
throwing toys, screaming. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this seems like a bit boy to me, a bit boy. So just learning about that. That's very recent though. I feel like before that just was like baby. There was no
Yeah.
difference. But so there are beautiful moments. We did have 2 holidays, so we went down to the city and in around April. which was
Yeah.
great. We just do that. And then we went to Queensland a couple weeks ago. And again, like just great family time. He's so chill. We just drove up there, he just slots in.
Oh, did you
So
drive?
we
Nice.
do. Yeah, it's only
Yeah.
7 hours, 7.5 hours from our house. We just stopped halfway.
Yeah.
Um, but he, like there's lots of great times in there as well. So it's just adjusting. But definitely probably the word has been overwhelm.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's because you're just chucking another kid in to an already very full family or already very full life. And you you are forced to grow in your capacity, right? So you feel overwhelmed in that time of growth, you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you're growing in, right? You always feel overwhelmed when you're growing and you're being pushed beyond your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't mean that your capacity can't grow and can't improve or you can't figure out ways to make it work. And so I was listening to a few parenting podcasts because this is just in the last, I'd say, week or so, because before that, it's just been too full to do much of that. But I listened to this podcast on overwhelm in parenting. And I think probably that's a really good, like sometimes when you're in the overwhelm, you just need to listen to something or someone else talk about it and explain to you why you're overwhelmed because you can't
Yeah.
process it for yourself. And so on this podcast, they were saying transitions are going to be overwhelming. And I was like, wow, we've just had a huge transition on so many fronts,
Yeah.
right? And then they were saying it's transitions are like overwhelm is seasonal if it's transitions. And I was like, yes, right? So like that has really stuck with me. And I was like, okay, this is probably normal. This is okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but it's not going to be forever. And you can grow through it. And the most powerful thing they said on the podcast, this was 2 weeks ago, was they said flipping from a victim mindset to this was my choice. And so literally
Mm.
that just flicked everything for me. And I was up on the Gold Coast walking, listened to it, and they were like, this is my choice, or this was my choice. Like that's what you say to yourself. And so when I was like thinking, oh, I'm really tired, I'm like, well, this was my choice to have another baby. And this was my choice to, you go on holidays and it's amazing, but it's also a lot of work. Just taking
Yeah.
your kids anywhere. But I was like, this was our choice because we value the family time and the fun. There's more of that than, I'm not going to say bad stuff, but just hard stuff, just
Yeah.
organization. Like
Yeah.
it's just hectic, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
hectic.
mean,
And
I
so,
think holidays with a baby can be tricky. And we were
mm,
just saying before we jumped on that you'd sent me a Voxer when you just got back from holidays, and you were saying he woke
yeah.
up every hour while you're away, and you
Mm.
said to me, when did I send that? And we worked out it was a week ago, and you're like, oh, this week's been really good. What a good reminder, how it all changes. But
Yes.
I remember whenever we went away, we were like, oh my God, why do we do this? This sucked. We're so like, because they don't sleep as well when they're away,
Yeah.
or you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
But I figured, well, it's going to be hard at home. May as well have a good time in the
Yeah,
day. It's going to
totally.
be
I
hard
think
at
you just got
night.
to do it anyway, or you just got to
Mm.
like have your
Yeah.
choice. You've got a choice. Decide what you want
Yeah.
to do, and go with
Yeah.
that. And know
But
that it'll be hard.
you've also got the other kids as well. Like it's not like with your first baby where you can just be like, we're just gonna stay at home.
Yeah,
And we're just gonna live our lives dictated around the baby's schedule. The baby
yeah,
joins your family, not your family becomes like completely broken down according to
yeah,
the baby. So it's that. But that has been super helpful for me just in the last few weeks, just going, this was my choice. This is my choice. And so that mindset flick just helps you to be like, okay, I'm moving out of being reactive. Right. Okay. What can I do about this? And there's always a solution to everything, which we always talk about. But
yeah,
you just sometimes need just someone to say that to you.
yeah.
That was a podcast that time.
What
And
podcasts have you been listening to?
oh, not many. Literally, that was
Okay.
like one of the first ones that I've been listening to because it's been tricky to find the audio time, I would say.
Mm.
Normally I'd be listening to podcasts when I exercise, but that has only just started happening again, so that's fine. What I was doing though when I was breastfeeding at night was I was just watching little snippets of YouTube videos on AI in servicing myself.
Yeah.
But that was again after probably 3 months or so when I'm starting to think, I want to use my brain a bit more. And I'm
Yeah.
not actually doing anything. I'm just watching them and just instead of scrolling my phone, just using my time a little bit
Mm.
more. I don't know, educationally or constructively, but not, just learning.
There's only
Just,
so much scrolling you can do, right?
yeah, after 3 months, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
you're spending a lot of your time breastfeeding. So, not every time I'd be like sometimes I'd be reading a book with Isabel while I'm breastfeeding, or sometimes I would be, I don't know, third baby walking around cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Even at retreat, we had Speak About Retreat a few weeks ago. Um, I was just walking around to the groups, facilitating while I'm breastfeeding. Well, not
Yeah.
facilitating, just talking to them while I'm
Yeah.
breastfeeding because it's third child, it's fine. Like you can do it totally modestly.
Yeah.
Um, and so, you're always doing different types of things or just sitting down, looking at your baby for,
Yeah.
you know, but it has been overwhelming, but that's okay. Like it's adding a kid in. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you have
Yeah.
business and
Not a small thing, right? Like it's a pretty big,
no,
a big thing to
no.
do.
No.
Um,
In saying that though, from now, obviously, you have a different perspective because you've walked through it already with two other kids, right? So when you know it's a season, when you know it will change, every day is different. But I also know that when they're this little, it's actually the easiest. I
yes.
feel like it's the easiest. And most people who are in their first child or they've, haven't walked that road, they're like, oh my gosh, you are crazy. But I find it easier to do work or do anything now versus when he's going to be 1 or 2, then that's when it gets really tricky because they are needing so much more emotionally from you. They're talking, they're doing all the things, needing all the things. It's quite simple at the moment. I'm like, I just feed you, you sleep,
Yeah, they
do
can't
a
move.
nappy
Amazing.
change. He
Yeah.
does a little squawk. And so I'm like, I know that though. So walking
Yeah.
through the journey with the other two kids, so I'm like, this is the time. Like you said, you were like, you have space. And I'm like, I know this is the time where I have the space because I'm like, give it another 6 months time and I won't have this space because he'll be running around everywhere and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
gets busier then. So I also know that. So I have been trying to it's like having a balance of like going easy on yourself
Yeah.
but it's literally just going with the flow. That's
Yeah.
been my sort of mindset. If I feel inspired, I'll follow it. If
Yeah.
I'm feeling tired, I follow it. If I'm feeling like enthusiastic about something, I'll follow it. If I
Mhm.
don't, I follow it.
Yeah.
And then you just listen to your rhythms and it works because you're
I
not
love
pushing
that.
yourself beyond your flow.
And I feel like that is that more like newborn stage. It's kind of like, oh, today I'm just going to wear my pajamas and it's just going
Mm,
to be one of those days. Yeah, I think that that's the kind of beauty of it because I think that we lose that when we get into back into
mm,
life and work where, if we're not motivated or we're not inspired, it's
mm.
like, oh, I've got this schedule, I've got these deadlines, I've got meetings, and you just have to push through. And I think it's that
Yeah.
one time where you don't have to push through. You've got like this valid reason to not
Mm,
push through and just be where
mm.
you're at. And I think that is the beauty in that time. I know if I had another baby, which I am not, I would just, treasure that time so much.
Mm, mm,
There's
mm.
nothing
And
quite like it.
I think you treasure it more as you have more kids, right?
Yeah.
Because you
Because you know.
understand what you just said and you know, yeah.
Yeah.
And because you sort of know what you're doing a little bit more. In saying that, there's still lots, I felt like I was going back to basics with a lot of
Mm.
things, but you sort of know, you know, nappies, spew up, feeding, all of that. So you sort of are allowed to treasure it more because you're not so in like stress mode going, what am I doing all the time constantly? So it is nice. It is really nice. But definitely it gives you the time to think, which
Mm,
when you're in the daily, daily timetable of doing things, whether it's mum life or whether it's business or just being a team member, whatever, there's not that time as much because you're not forced
yeah,
to sit down and breastfeed every 3 hours
I
and
know.
have that time. So yeah, it
Interesting, isn't it?
is very sweet. Very
Yeah.
sweet.
And I
Mm.
think you kind of sit there. I quite liked breastfeeding, particularly with Marley, because I didn't have mastitis every other week. And I just would sit there, and it's just like this such pleasant bonding experience. So you kind of go, like, you tap into that gratitude, and yeah, it's just a really nice, light mindset as well. Uh,
And you sort of don't have any deadlines and you don't have, like you said, a schedule. So you
mm,
can follow the flow. But I think the biggest thing is no one, because you remove everything. So I'm not doing any meetings. Like this is sort of the first structured thing that I've done. If
mm,
I'm just doing work, it's just me following my inspiration and my
yeah,
flow.
yeah,
Um, there was a few times there where I stepped in a little bit for our retreat for Speak
yeah,
About. It always happens every time I have a baby, something major in our industry shifts, and I have to step back in a little bit to help with that pivot, but it's okay. But it's always, I don't know, I feel like that happened like when I had Evie, it was COVID. So it's
yeah,
like you've got to step back in a little bit to help navigate this huge industry pivot.
yeah,
This time it's all the NDIS changes and
yeah,
the budget came out very soon after he was born. And it's sort of like this is something we hadn't seen coming, like I think it might have been the budget. Um, and it doesn't matter what's happening in your life. If you own a business, you've just got to sort of step back in. But the beauty of it this time has been is that Brie has been managing director. So that pressure has been off me. And that's the first time I've felt that in having all of my kids.
hmm,
And Mackie is working with Brie. Obviously, he does all the financials and all that.
yeah,
But this is the first time where I felt like I can just step back in and help navigate the pivot from a strategy point of view,
yeah,
but then not have to execute as much.
yeah,
And that has been
nice.
what's made this really lovely.
Yeah.
Took me 3 babies to realize I need to put a managing director in.
Yeah, but
Baby.
it's also just like, time in the bit, like you've had the business
Yeah.
for a long enough time. Bree's been there
Mm,
forever.
yes, that's
Like
true.
there's timing as well. I think it's not that
That's true.
you didn't realize it. It's just that the business wasn't there,
Yeah,
and Bree
that's
probably
true.
wasn't there until, like it's
No,
that
no,
experience and everything. So it was
no.
just, I mean, you're
Yeah.
really lucky that it kind of aligned for your
I
third
know.
baby, really.
I know, because I put her in managing director and I wasn't pregnant. Like we weren't, I
Yeah,
don't think we were talking about having another baby. It was just the right thing to do.
yeah,
But yeah, I have realized that that's exactly what the business does need
yeah,
moving forward. And it has allowed me though to just bring what I'm really good at, which is what I need to do in this period,
yeah,
which is the strategy and the invention and just, making sure that we're aligning with all the changes.
yeah,
From a perspective of being out, not in. When you're in, well,
yes,
you would say you're
yes,
in the business, so then you have a different mindset. Whereas when you're out, you can just see things really clearly. You just come in and you're like, okay, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, boom. These
yeah.
pieces go here, this fits
I'm like
here.
that with Northside. So I'm out of Northside. I'm completely out of the day to day, and Matt and Josh are running it. And so then,
Yeah.
like, they'll ask me questions, and I come from the perspective of, well, I don't know what the day to day is like, what is actually happening. So I'll give a completely different perspective than what they have.
Mm,
And I'm like, well,
yes.
this is coming from my perspective, which I don't like, I'm not involved, obviously. So take what, in the
Mm,
situation. But yeah, it's interesting.
yeah. So it's helpful. It's helpful that way. But yeah. So what was the question you asked me again?
I can't even remember.
I know this is this I'm like it's just chatting because it's been so long.
I know, I know. One thing I want us to talk about today is obviously catching up, which is so good
Mm,
to hear about
mm,
what, how you've been and how it's all been.
yeah.
But just reflecting being 100 episodes and just
Mm,
thinking, what have you loved about doing this podcast? And
mm.
what, like, not necessarily what's next, but what are your hopes and dreams, I guess?
For the podcast?
Yeah.
So many. You go
Yeah.
first. Well, I would love for this podcast to be reaching more allied health professionals
Mm.
for more people. I think there's been a lot of gold in our 100 episodes,
Yeah.
but I think the biggest thing is the personal development
Yeah.
side that we talk about. And I just think that's so impactful. And
Yeah.
there's so many professionals that are still not sure how to bring the human side and the professional side into a workplace
Yeah.
to work with someone.
Yeah.
I think it's
And
still a
so would that
massive.
be your like what you've loved about it as well as what you
Mm,
want to do more of, I guess?
mm, mm.
Mm.
I think so. I think it's so important
Yeah.
for these days. One of our team members attended a workshop with Michelle Binary recently, like a leadership slash thought coach across the
Okay.
allied health space. So there was allied health, there was over 200 allied health professionals that jumped on. OT, speech, physio. I don't know if EPs would know about her, but it was a free thing. And
Yeah.
she was talking all about, I guess we would call them like soft skills, which is what we
Yeah.
call personal development. This was like maybe last week.
Yeah.
And there was just so many questions, basic questions about coaching and mentoring and how to actually help someone in the workplace as a person. How do you break through blocks with people like resilience and fear of failure and procrastination? How do you actually do that? And so Michelle was talking about in the webinar, but I think that's something you and I both do really, really, really well. And that's what we're originally like, we started doing that a lot. Like all our initial episodes on the podcast were about that because that's what we found
Yeah.
so powerful.
And I feel like that is like when we plan our episodes, I feel like those things come up a lot
Mm,
because I feel like that's what we're dealing with either personally or within the team or whatever it is. So I feel
mm.
like that comes up a lot. And so they're always the episodes that we want to record as well.
But it's what people don't learn and
Yeah.
what not a lot of people are talking about because everyone is so focused. I mean, we've done lots on clinical as well. I
Yeah.
love the clinical chats. I think that would be good. Like, what do you think?
I
Or what
think
have you loved?
I've just loved sharing our conversations. Like I feel like being kind of held accountable to catch up each week and really dig a bit deeper into conversations. Like I feel like before we were having them kind of on Voxer and it was, like informal, but I feel as we've scheduled it and we've talked about it, it's kind of forced us even to like push ourselves even more on those topics, and I've really enjoyed that. And I think I really I like the clinical stuff as well, but I
Mm,
really like the soft skills as well. Like I'm with you on that, and I feel I just learn about myself, and it's nice to kind of have a conversation with you about it and hear like what you're intake, or
yeah,
what's the
same.
word, yeah, your perspective is on things. Yeah. So
Mm,
I think that is what's been really special to me. And I think what's next, I agree. Like, I'd love to reach more people and I'd love to interview more people. And I'd love us to talk about some things that maybe we're scared to talk about, like push out past our comfort zone.
I think I haven't sort of realized this, but I've come to the realization through the podcast and through
Mm.
people reaching out to us is that we are mums and we do business. And
Yeah.
we're not just like the side mum doing business. We are the front and center. Like I'm the front and center for my Successful Speech Academy. You're the front and center for Kids Heart Pilates. Then we
Yeah.
have Speak About, we have all of our other brands and companies, but we're still mums. And I think that's something that we carry that's really special for the space as well. I think probably this is me coming from mumland and babyland. I would love to
Yeah.
do a series on making business and mum life work because it's really fresh for me and I'm like sort of living it right now. But I think that's something that we do carry, like that's quite unique.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of wisdom to give, but also then we talk to each other and then learn from each other. And I think that's so needed, particularly if
Yeah.
you're a mum founder, a mum
Yeah.
allied health founder,
Yeah.
trying to do both.
And it's interesting because I feel like, even though it might sound strange, but I feel like I am fresh in that balance at the moment because I have never been more present for my kids. And I think this comes from all the stuff that I went through last year and going on medication for my anxiety. And it's like now I'm like, no, I'm going to go pick up my kids. I
Mm,
like, my mum was picking the kids up on a Tuesday afternoon and it got a bit too much for her. And I'm like, it's okay, mum, I work from home. I can go pick up the kids. It's fine. I'm
mm,
actually happy to do that. And
mhm,
so I feel like I'm really like in this new like way of doing things with my family, and I'm not kind of being pulled from this like, oh, I have to be this. I have a business, so I have to be working this many hours and I have to be doing this, and this. It's kind of like, okay, I'm working within these hours. Within those hours, I still have to look after myself. So, I'm going to the gym and I'm doing all of that sort
mm.
of stuff as well. So, yeah, I think that's a really good place for us to start our next little
Mm.
phase of it because one, I think you are in the perfect perspective as, having a
Yes.
newborn and a mum
Very fresh.
already. Yeah.
Very fresh.
And then I'm in a completely different stage, but I really have transitioned into this mum mode and not feeling guilty to not be working 50 hours a week or 40 hours a week, to be honest.
And there's so much learning in that. And I think you bring that journey of actually walking through that,
Mm,
doing it the other way, and then going, okay, now I need to come back to mum to realign my values. So there's probably buckets loads of people listening and going, that's me.
mm.
I don't know how to do that, or I did that too,
Or
and
I
so
want to do that maybe even.
yeah, that's like so much personal growth there and gems that you can share. So it's both.
Yeah.
I think that's super important for our space, allied health space moving forward. I'd love to step into that more because it's so needed. But if you are listening and you normally listen, please share. Like we said, we want to bring this to more allied health professionals. We want to make sure that people are, getting being the best professional and person that they can be for their clients, their workplace, for their businesses, and just leading really lovely lives. Lovely lives, right?
Being fulfilled, right? So, you know,
Mm,
having both, being
yes,
a parent and also doing what inspires you. And if that's to have a business, and it might not be having a business, or it might have been a business and then it
so
might
fine.
change. But it's like
Yeah, so fine.
being aligned with what is inspiring you right now, which is, what you're saying you're doing,
Yeah,
which I think is
yeah,
amazing. And I think
yeah.
following that and figuring out how to continue to follow that beyond babyland,
Mm,
really.
mm. It's being
But
led by your values, which we
exactly.
always talk about. It's nothing new.
Exactly. But to keep it real, I've got to go because I've got a dentist appointment.
Hmm, hmm.
So freaking good to catch up with you. And guys, we might not be
Yes.
coming weekly, or we might be coming
We'll see
weekly.
how we go.
We are gonna, follow
There
our,
might be a few solo episodes if we can't
yeah,
align,
yeah.
but if you have loved this and if you have topics that you want us to talk about or you have questions for either of us, like write in and then we will make our episodes around those as well. And we are more than happy to hear from you as well. But yeah, happy 100
Woo!
episodes.
So
We
good.
did it. So
Love you,
proud of
man.
us. Thank you everyone for listening. See you
Bye.
soon.
See ya.